So today we're going to be demoing some eco stuff and talking about our new features. So I'm John Kay. I'm CEO of Strange Loop and a designer on eco. And to my right is Keegan,
Hey there.
artist extraordinaire on eco, who does a lot of our biome design as well and a whole bunch of other stuff. And we have Craig,
Hi.
designer slash programmer, who builds out the tech tree and all kinds of stuff on eco. So yeah, so we're going to be talking about the latest build, talking about what's coming up, and answering questions from you guys. So feel free to jump in and ask us anything as you go. We should get the game playing as well while we're doing this. Hey, so we'll just be showing off eco while we answer questions. So go ahead and send some through. Well, if you want to set us up for questions, you can.
So there's some general concern though from fans just about the game in general, and specifically the length of time since the last update. So I'll just mention that we are hard at work on some really big updates to the game. We're not stopping anytime soon, and you don't have to worry about updates trailing off or anything like that. The reason it's been a long time is because we've been working on some massive stuff. So we hope you'll be patient, and I think we'll be excited to see what we're working on when we're finished with it.
Cool. Yeah, so we've got our 8.0 builds coming out. That's going to be a big biome patch. Do you want to play it while I chat?
Sure.
So that's going to be introducing all kinds of new biomes to the game, new animals, and it's going to look really different. So that's the big one we've been working on. 7.8 is kind of a minor patch that we're just adding right now. So the big one is to come still. But 7.8 is about to launch later today.
And I'll just introduce myself. So, hey guys, my name is Will, so that way I'm not just a faceless voice asking you guys questions. So I'm going to feed the questions to the team, and I'll be behind the camera.
Cool. So, I got a question about transportation stuff, specifically trains, rails. So, are we going to be doing more along that?
So trains and rails aren't in the immediate future. It is something I want to do eventually. We had a big vehicles patch, which was 7.0, that was adding the steam tractor in and cranes, elevator, and a bunch of other stuff. So we'll probably not get on vehicles immediately, but eventually that's something we're going to come back to.
This guy also mentioned that when you build a powered car, it's useless because of the steam truck. Well, the powered carts are actually supposed to be phased out. So when 8.0 comes out, they actually won't exist at all in the game. So their spot in the tech tree is actually replaced by the steam truck. So if they seem to come too close together, that's because that's intentional.
See a question here. If someone is sleeping on a server, could another player join? Yes, you can, and it will actually interrupt the sleep of the player. So everyone on the server has to be sleeping in order for it to advance time. So it's primarily something for like private servers or small groups of people where everybody agrees to advance time, and then everybody gets in a bed and time will start accelerating, and as soon as one person wakes up, everybody wakes up. So it's kind of an all or nothing thing. Not really used for public servers. Public servers are keeping that approach where the game is running continuously, and you come back over multiple days, just to give time for lots of players to come in and have these, build up economies on their own schedule and interact asynchronously. So we're still sticking with that method. But yeah, it should make a single player experience quite a bit different, that you can now, you're never blocked on waiting for anything. You can always speed things up.
Okay. Will biomes only generate in the new maps, or will the maps spawn the new ones? Current maps spawn the new ones?
It will spawn only on new ones currently.
Yeah.
And it's not just adding biomes. Like the entirety of our world generation is getting overhauled. So it will just be a good idea to generate a new map because the way it's laid out will be significantly different.
Yeah. There's enough gigantic changes that it would be pretty difficult to reverse migrate biomes.
Yeah, so we will migrate existing servers, so you can still play on them, but they won't have the new biomes until you refresh and start a new world. Is 8.0 in 2019? How much does sleeping advance time? Yes, the goal is to get 8.0 in 2019, probably early December, but we haven't finalized it yet.
2019 is next year.
Yeah.
I know.
No. Or you say like early December 2019?
Oh, early December 2018.
Yeah, not early December 2019. Yeah, 2018 for 8.0 is the goal.
Yeah. Biome Changes are an 8.0, yeah, not 7.8.
Maybe we could talk a little bit about the biome changes.
Yeah, Keegan, do you want to just give us a rundown of what's coming for the biome changes?
Sure. Well, we're basically going to be adding some entirely new biomes to the game. One of the biggest ones is a rainforest biome. We're also going through and sort of splitting up and better organizing the things that we have. I think 8.0 is not going to have all of the biome update in one. It'll probably be a phased thing where we have some of the updates and some of the new plants and animals and everything like that, and then we'll continue that in another update afterwards. But I can say that there's going to be a rainforest biome. Taiga and tundra will be two distinct biomes with their own soil types. The other big thing that's happening with biomes, in addition to new plants and animals, is soil and rocks. So rocks will be basically split up into actual different kinds of rocks. So instead of just stone, you're going to have different types of sedimentary, metamorphic, and igneous rocks. To start with, just a few. There's probably one for each category to start, but we're going to have things like limestone. So basically the idea is, with all these new biomes, they each have resources that are unique to those areas that are encouraging you to exploit resources that are located within one biome and be forced to, travel there and extract it and bring it back to wherever you're settling. So we really want to overhaul the balance of the game in terms of exploration and in terms of where you're building your settlements, how you're thinking about, taking resources from the world. So there's going to be big updates to a lot of the natural world. Basically, it's going to get a lot of changes and improvements. So
yeah, Keegan is an avid hiker and a biome researcher, and he's designed a lot of how this stuff works. So some pretty realistic stuff. Some of the probably most realistic biomes you see in most sandbox games. So it should be pretty interesting to have that coming through. We'll also have other kind of natural features like lakes, deserts, different rivers. So everything's kind of getting updated.
Yeah, most everything with the world generation is being updated. So it's going to be a big step up, I think, and it's going to be a large enough change that I'm sure there's going to be a lot that we're going to polish and continue changing. Once we've got this initial push out, things are going to be changing a lot in the next, 5 months or whatever. There's going to be a lot.
Somebody mentioned marble. That's something I was thinking about too. It'd be really cool to have marble, especially for like government buildings.
Yeah, marble's a metamorphic rock, and that will be definitely. It's on the list. It's not on the initial push. We want to get the absolute basics of sort of geology, having one sort of basement metamorphic rock, which is probably going to be gneiss to start out with, and then marble will be something that we can add later on from, I believe, metamorphosed limestone. So we are adding limestone. So once we have limestone and you have all these basic building blocks, you can start to place resources such as like marble. You can add marble and actually have it make sense in the world. You can have it, beneath a bunch of limestone, as if that limestone, was putting the pressure on it and turning it into marble. So the more we add, the more we'll be able to place things in an interesting manner and give players ways to sort of make logical associations and look through the world for different resources like that. So.
I see somebody asked water and water flow. Yeah, we're actually doing a big thing with pipes for 8.0. So we're kind of reviving those and making them more needed in different crafting objects. So you can expect to see that you can have towns where you have to set up plumbing for everybody and kind of water systems for different villages and things like that. So there'll be another interesting public works project that you have to collaborate on. And you're going to be generating pollution from these, so that connects to the pollution side as well. Is that you'll start having this pollution output from like normal everyday kind of objects that you have to, you can build pipes and deal with it, or you can just leave it and it'll pollute the area, or it's basically a problem you have to solve with your village and government.
I assume they were talking about the way water flows in the world.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the case.
Tangentially, so.
Speaking of water, there's a lot of interest in boats. What's our thoughts around that?
Yeah, it's something on the list. We don't have it for the immediate update, but definitely it's going to be a big transport option where you can just, instead of building a road, you just get a boat and sail it across the ocean. That's something that's it's always been a huge source of transportation.
Yeah.
And speaking of this update, somebody was asking what else is going to be in 7.8? What are some of the cool features we can talk about besides sleep?
It's really just sleep is the main feature. Everything else is kind of minor quality of life stuff. We'll post the patch notes. So most of the past couple months we weren't on 8.0, but we wanted to get a quick kind of mini patch out before that one happens. So it's not representative of the last 2 months. It's just a small change that we're pushing out while we're working towards 8.0.
Cool.
Is electricity, switches, gates, XOR, AND, NAND, NOR, etc. part of the plans? Yes, actually, we do have test objects for that already. I wonder if I can just give them
You
right
can,
now.
they don't work right now. But they should exist. They're all hidden, but they should all be
Yeah,
there.
we have these little secret objects right now that are not finished, but like, here's a switch, for example, and you can, set this up. Oh, I'm not authorized on it right now. To open doors, for example, or do other kinds of things. So it's kind of like Redstone, if you're familiar with that, but it's basically this way of setting up mechanical objects. And then we have a toll object we're working on, which will connect it to the economy. So you come up with this, and you have to pay a toll to hit the switch, for example, and then that will open a door to a toll bridge, for example, or let you into a house. So you can start having these kind of complex machines that are actually part of the economy. See people asking about FPS. Yeah, performance is something we're kind of just working on continuously. So we're going to keep having patches that focus on that. We have people working on performance for 8.0. So it's just kind of something that's going to have constant improvements, especially if there's any slowdowns or things where it's hitching or disconnecting people. Those are top priority. So we expect to see that keeps getting better.
If people are interested in more use for gold or copper, any plans for expansion on that?
Well, I can definitely say that we have a lot of ideas and plans and designs for improving mineral processing and earth resources. So we're kind of starting with the base of the pyramid, you could say, with the biomes update. We're focusing on what are the resources that we want and what are the primary reasons we want them for in the technology. So we're starting to work out a lot more of that with the biomes update as we consider things like rocks and earth resources, which include all the different types of ore, copper ore. We're actually looking at adding new types of ore as well, but we'll definitely be looking at how each one of those is used in the tech tree, especially in the coming months as we implement more of them as natural resources. Things like copper, I know, are going to be getting a lot more use for piping and things like that, water piping. So there's a lot of plans we have for the use of earth resources for sure.
Here's a question for Craig.
Yeah.
What do you feel about the current profession-specialty balance? Are you satisfied with it, or what are your ideas to enhance the balance between them and making them more equal, valuable?
Well, I feel like the first part is kind of like answered by the second one. They're not particularly well balanced. And so it's always been the cooking was like sort of up there, and we've been trying to slowly move the other professions sort of in line with that rather than taking cooking down. We do have a lot of skill changes coming into 8, so I wouldn't expect any like huge balance related stuff in 7.8 because all that stuff is going to be kind of shuffled up by the skill changes that are coming after.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that, Craig? Like how
Sure. So just in essence, we're going to try and we've always been trying to get the other professions to sort of interplay with the other professions more in a similar manner to how cooking does with the other professions. So like right now, if you want to be like whatever a mason, you still need to go buy food from the cook because the cook gives you your skill points to increase your skill. So essentially, we want to make like housing was like basically the beginning of this. We were trying to sort of get the other professions to play an integral role as cooking, and so we have some plans for like disposable use items from the other professions to sort of try and tie them into like progression for everybody. As far as the skill system goes, we're reworking essentially how all the skills work. Pretty much every skill, like the base level skill in the game, which would be like the efficiency skills, the speed skills, stuff like that are like inside the specialties, are all getting baked into the specialties themselves. So when you take carpentry, you will just have efficiency. And then you will, by doing actions related to that profession, you'll level up your specialty.
So this is going to be huge changes to the skill system where your actions will affect what you're doing more. So you choose your specialties, but then you like increase that specialty by doing stuff. And then it's like crafting and.
Yeah, it's basically doing anything related to the profession. So if you're like a woodcutter, you cut trees down to gain experience. So the main worry here would be that we've always been trying to keep it so that people who can't play as much can still contribute to the game. So essentially what's going to happen now is your specialties will matter more. When you take, like, say you take carpentry, your efficiency will immediately jump up to, currently it's set at 50%. That may change before the release, but so as soon as you take carpentry, you'll be good at it. And then by doing it a lot, you'll get even better. So even somebody who like can't log on every day can still work with the skill at a degree that's a lot better than other people, but you still have something to work towards as you play.
This is kind of addressing an issue where if you wanted to be as efficient as possible, the best way to play would be to unlock the skill and then wait until you get full efficiency.
Yeah.
So now the only way to get efficiency is by actually doing it. So you're not incentivized to sit there and wait. So that kind of addresses that issue. So you're still getting, your skill points are still, as you're getting XP while you're doing stuff, it's multiplied by your housing and food value. So it's still a huge impact of this, these personal quantities here.
Yeah. So basically, like the old nutrition system still works pretty much exactly how it is. Like your skill rate will still increase the rate at which you can get new specialties, and then it will also influence the rate at which you gain experience for doing the actions. So if you have like a really nice house and you eat really well, you'll gain experience to get higher efficiency faster while doing those things.
Yep.
And how do you think this will affect the society and like the distribution of skills? Will people be able to experience more aspects of the game by testing out different skills? How will it affect the dynamic?
I feel like for the most part, it'll remain roughly similar. Another thing that's happening with this is we're allowing some of the previously like profession locked things to be done by other people. But since their efficiency will just be lower, it won't be as good. So if they want to try and experience those things while not being in that specialty, they might be able to do that.
Yeah, I think that'll help a lot actually with just giving everyone more things to do.
Sorry, somebody keeps asking about fur seeds because you can't actually get them in the game right now. So for all of the seeds, just all of them, we're going to move them to a new system where instead of whacking the branches off trees, when you cut them down, they leave debris. You're going to harvest the debris for the seeds, and that will work with all the trees as opposed to just the original tree.
Will demographics be in 7.8?
Yes, I believe so.
I think that's something we could talk about.
Yeah. So they're kind of partially in 7.8. Demographics. So demographics is a feature where you can define sets of players. So there's a default one, which is citizen, which is players who have spent more than 2 hours in the game. And then when you can designate that group in law. So for example, by default, only citizens can vote. So we have this it's going to be a pretty flexible system. So 7.8 will have the very beginnings of it. But the idea is that you can define all kinds of things about players, like players who have this much property or have contributed this, or whatever you want basically, and then have rules affect different people differently. So somebody has like specialized in a skill, maybe they're in a special like lumber person group, and then they have different ability to forest because they're more efficient in chopping them down, things like that. So it lets you have much more specific settings in your laws.
Will we be able to artificially engineer a biome by, say, directing water to a desert?
That's an interesting question, and that should just work because that'll just change the moisture, and that'll slowly change the biome over time, right?
Yeah, so what happens now is it will work, but you won't see the species that would occur there unless they could get there naturally. Which would mean, like, if you create a rainforest in the middle of the desert, you're not going to get any rainforest plants because the species won't be able to populate there. If you manage to like connect that with another rainforest, they'll slowly move into that area.
Wonder if
that's how it should work right now.
Make it so you can plant them in there and like see.
Oh yeah, you should actually be able to do that if you do a farming plant of a species somewhere where they can grow naturally, they should grow naturally.
Someone asked if recipes will still be unlocked in the new proficiency system, or does everyone make everything? It's still unlocked, correct?
It's a combination of both. It's a little bit more free now, but there are definitely some stuff that's going to be slightly locked. But yeah, it's definitely less so than it was before.
See, someone asked, government and contract screen still looks daunting. Anything to address that? So government is going to be the next big update after biomes. So I haven't talked a lot about that, but we're going to be doing some really cool stuff with like constitutions. So you can actually design your own government and create like how do elections work, who can vote for what actions require votes, what can just be done by fiat. You can have like impeachable roles, and then how does the impeachment process work? So it's going to be this really flexible system. So you won't start the game and you go with a government, but you will actually have to build up different parts of it. So you'll need to create like a building that gives you access to elections and voting. You'll need to make a building that lets you have a constitution that lets you design the government itself. So that's going to be a really big change, and we do want to make it really easy to use. So to your point about it being daunting, that's something that we're going to have like, make it really streamlined to use, lots of help, while still being really powerful. So just giving a lot of players kind of design these crazy like communities that they're creating.
Blueberry's been asking a lot about 7.8. I believe ladders will also be in there.
Yes, ladders are coming in. So that can really change how you move around your environment. That's going to be good.
He also keeps asking about vehicles too. So I don't think there's any major updates to vehicles. There's Sean fixed some bugs with them flying up into the sky. So I mean the physics of vehicles is something we're constantly looking at, right? Like it's gonna get better.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have any plans to add any more. At least not soon, right?
Not on the immediate horizon, but I think there's definitely things like we were talking about earlier, boats. There are definite plans for more vehicles in the game, but just not on the immediate horizon.
Yeah, boats will be another big update, and changes to existing vehicles and new vehicles. It's all in the far plan.
Sikoris was asking about electricity. They would love to be able to sell power to a city.
That would be pretty awesome if we had like an Enron level corporation.
Yeah, I mean, I think power is definitely one of the things it's in our minds, and most of the developers' minds is something that will definitely get focused in the future as well, and a big update.
Mm-hmm.
Power infrastructure.
If you let power run through switches, you can turn them on and off.
Power like that. That was always the original goal, is to have power be something you can connect to the economy. So definitely want to make that something you can charge for and have your kilowatt hours or whatever it is. So in general, this comes down to like the design direction of eco and the things that we still want to add to it before we're considering it 1.0. And a lot of that is the kind of community-based systems, like building a power network, building a sewage system, plumbing system, building like a library or something for the community. So these projects that take a lot of collaboration, they take a lot of resources, and they're just challenging to organize so that you have to, use laws, use taxes, use all these things at your disposal in order to make them possible. So we want to keep fleshing out those kind of aspects of the game, and that's kind of the idea of what we have to look forward to as we move forward in eco.
Satsuki was interested in non-player body corporations and public property, including mints and banks. So, corporations.
Yeah, so we're introducing the title system that's going to be in 8.0. So players can have, right now there's one title in the game, and that's World Leader, but we're going to be changing that so that you can create your own and define how they relate. So I could make a new title, which is, the Duke, and the Duke has access to the specific deeds that I give them rights to. So you'll be able to select them in the property rights, for example. And that'll be part of the government system where you can have these elected titles. So that fits a lot into corporations where you can have, kind of this entity which consists of other people. Right now we just have like voting and things are specifically for the government, but I do kind of want to extend those controls to corporations. And then we have bank accounts is another big feature that's coming. It's already in 8.0, and the idea with that is that right now everybody has one bank account. In the future you'll have multiple, and you can define who has access to them. And then you can have government-specific accounts as well. So you could have like an account just for taxes that only the tax minister title has access to. So you can have these much more complex kind of systems that are all going to be designed by the community. And you'll kind of unlock these as you create buildings. So in order to get the title feature, you have to build this like title building. In order to get the bank account feature, you have to build a bank. And then they have all these rich interactions between them. So there's a lot more just like civic creation, the ability to kind of guide this community that you're growing one step at a time.
And speaking of bank accounts, Suzuki also says that at the moment, servers without a good background in economics have trouble with making currency liquid in the market. So how can we address that?
Interesting. I suppose they're asking like just the ability to like trade currency is less when people don't understand economics. I mean, I would say that is kind of like an opportunity in the server. If people are not using currency efficiently, you play in that server and use it efficiently, and you're going to have this advantage to get more economic activity there. But we do want to add more tools for just understanding how the economy works. One thing we just marked for a task today is like on the economy viewer, you can see who has enough money to actually buy your goods before you go all the way there, or who has the storage space for it. So just making more, kind of erring on the side of giving lots of information and letting players make decisions about that, I think makes the economy a lot easier to kind of understand and plan for. But it is very much a tool that players build. They decide how much stuff is worth and so on.
And are there improvements scheduled for the laws web interface?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, that's definitely in need of documentation, and that's something that that's the feature I'm working on right now is laws and government. So we'll have a lot of changes for that. We're going to have it so you can mess with them in game as well. We're going to have it so admins can like set up laws in government if they want, so you can build scenarios. So just giving tons of power to server admins and letting them have these kind of different scenarios, but then making the vanilla experience where you're creating them yourself really engaging also, so that players have to really work together to do this. So yes, definitely something we're focusing on.
Will there be improvements to the contract interface along with government?
Yeah, that's not something I'm doing for 9.0 right now, but it is something I want to revisit. It'd be great to hear people's ideas on how to improve that, but basically I want contracts to be used a lot more frequently. So one way to do that is to make them more powerful and also to make them easier to use and understand. So a contracts pass is definitely in the cards. I think that's one of the more interesting things about the game. It's just the ability to like buy and sell labor, not just goods.
Jacob B had a bug fix question. Is the contract board fixed now? Previously, during a server reset, the currency reset to the user's currency. This limits the usage of the contract board.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that bug got fixed, I think a few weeks ago. That should be in 7.8. I see somebody asking, they want to hear more about 7.8. So yeah, the big features in 7.8 are sleep, ladders, performance fixes, bug fixes. What was the other big one? We'll have to pull up the change list. So there's a lot of like little stuff in 7.8. So this is, yeah, kind of the point of this stream is to talk about that, but also kind of the direction of Eco and what we're working on next. And we all participate in the Discord channels quite a bit, so if you have like feedback, feel free to message us in there or chat to our moderators. But we do read all that feedback, and a lot of it does end up getting implemented, so it's great to have that.
Demographics is the other big one.
Demographics, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
We also have item filters in 7.8.
Oh yeah, item filters are a fun one. Let's show the item filters. Never mind.
So we confirm we still have audio on the stream.
I think people are, yeah. Cool.
Might be worth just reiterating that, you know, the big reason that 7.8 is not a huge update despite the number of months that have passed since the last update is because we're putting in a lot of big overhauls for 8.0. So for anybody who's new, that's why it's been so long, is we're doing a lot of big stuff for the update that's going to come after 7.8. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Just a few of the 7.8 updates were new and improved chat commands, things like /time, /fast forward, and then random improvements like avatar animations when they're changing their hair and clothes, updated meteor intro, things like that. So we'll have a full change log up where you can read all about the little bits and pieces.
Does it cover the thing if I do that?
No. It's based on the window.
Okay. Someone asked if we could show the 7.8. You know, I think we could just jump in there. It's kind of risky to do midstream. Maybe we'll leave that.
Are there any plans on splitting land claim vertical to make skyscrapers and housing a thing? Oh, that's a cool idea. Thank you, Tower.
Yeah, I love that idea. That's a tricky one to have like vertical, like 3D property. Definitely something I'd like to do though. Some things I've already kind of been toying around with are the idea of collateral, so that to support loans based on your houses. So that you can take a loan where if you fail to pay back the loan, then your property goes to the person you owe it to. So as far as that goes, that's something we're going to keep looking at. We also want to do like rental markets, so you can like rent out property to people through the contract system, and then have like shared like residency, the idea of residency. So if you're a resident in a particular district, that might give you privileges as far as laws and government go.
Is it possible later to connect shops immediately to the treasury?
Connect shops to the treasury. I'm not sure what they mean. Oh, your torch went out.
Let's see. We had a question from Flo. What are the plans for the mod kit? Will Eco support custom scripts in Unity, and how will clients download mods in the future? Is there any plan for changing the current system? Will it remain the same or have a different approach?
We're continuing to expand it. We added a bunch of dynamic UI for mods so that you can, inside of a modded object, you can just say the things you want to get for the object, and it'll render them in the client. So you won't need to create any script. You just say like have the player select the currency, have the player select a number. So that's kind of the direction we're going right now, is having these auto-generated UI. I'd also like to get modded UI in there. Passing script is more difficult because you get the security problem where people could pass like malicious scripts. But we have thought about having some kind of like layered scripting sandbox or something where you can have more flexibility in there. But yeah, modding is always going to be a huge part of Eco. It's something we want to fully support, especially as we continue to grow the engine. You know, we're making a ton of investments into the core tech here because we want to, you know, keep growing and expanding it over the years. So it's going to be lots more to come there, and it's really great to have feedback from modders as they build stuff.
We got a cool idea from FNG Maison. He says, go the full sci-fi route and allow you to have an electricity-backed currency.
Get blockchains, get Bitcoin in there. That'd be pretty cool to have like half of the power in the world being used on like Bitcoins and it pollutes the planet. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Maison has another good question. Rental properties, such as rental factories, would there be the possibility for workers to seize the means of production?
Yeah, I've thought about like how would revolutions work in the game? How do we want, like, should there be a way to circumvent the existing government? And that's part of the feature that's always been on our docket of being able to break laws. But I was thinking of a system where this is all just kind of, you know, not developed yet, but just concept stage, where we have a, you know, the size of your government building. If someone builds a bigger one, they would be able to like take over it. So there's like a way to seize control in that way. Because right now, like, laws are unbreakable. You know, you can never change them. You know, without like admin commands or something. So things like that I think would be pretty interesting and could add a lot to the game.
Keegan, anything else you want to talk about art-wise that's coming in?
That's a dramatic job.
Well, off the top of my head, one thing I will mention that's a big thing that will be a big part of 8.0 is also not just more animals and more plants and biomes, but also animal behavior is getting a good update put into it. We're adding a lot more complexity behind the way animals behave in the game, getting them access to a lot of their states and animations that we've actually had for a while, but just haven't plugged into them with AI or whatever yet. So yeah, that's another thing that's going to be coming. It's going to be really nice.
Like what kind of animal animations are coming down the pipe?
Well, just like things like different types of behaviors. Like the otter, for instance, is one that right now is really, really simple in the released build, but we'll be getting a lot of updates. Like it'll be able to crawl on land and float on its back, and it'll have activities like diving for food. We're going to be adding states like that are individualized to each animal so that you can really, you know, start to see more of the behaviors you would expect when you're looking at different species. And that's something that can really be just continually improved upon over time and give the creatures a lot more life.
And how about their animal interactions with the player?
Well, I mean, I think hunting is getting some updates as well. Sean, I believe, is also working on improving different things that happen when you hunt it. I think in one of the states, for example, is like an alerted state, so that, you know, when you're sneaking up on something, once it sees you, it'll go into an alerted state and then run. So improving those and their timing so that hunting becomes, you know, more interesting and realistic is part of it as well, for sure.
Cool. Well, let's wrap it up and call the stream for today. Excited for the 7.8 release and lots more to come. So send us your feedback and suggestions, and we'll see you in the game.